What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to another video here at the TGRDC show. Be sure to hit the like button on this video and subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content. Guys, today this is your weekly update where we look at injuries that have been noted from the previous games going into the next week, as well as NFC East updates. And so let's go ahead and begin. Let's jump right in. There's a lot of injuries. I wouldn't say there's a lot of injuries that are different in terms of quantity, in terms of what we've seen previous weeks, but quality, I mean, the players that are on this list, it does cause some concern. But before I go into this, like I said, this has been the mantra for the entire season. The Dallas Cowboys organization and the coaching staff, they have constantly given us a reason to trust in their guys and trust in their depth and who they drafted and the young talent that they have. And so let's go through this. Let's first talk about the big one. Dak Prescott obviously did not play Sunday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. He still has that calf strain. He's set to be back at practice, and he is set to start. I just saw a report right here before I even started this video saying Dak is confident that he will go, but does he need to? I mean, the Broncos are in a free fall. It's an AFC opponent. If you guys know me, I'm always for that NFC East, NFC construct. So if we drop a game against the Denver Broncos, it honestly isn't the worst thing in the world. Do I think we probably would if we don't have Dak Prescott? I don't think so. I think Cooper Rush can definitely get the job done, especially with who we have coming back. But that's just my take. I don't think if they think that Dak Prescott's going to be 100%, he's back to normal this game, obviously he's going to play. But if he's not, I mean, you can entertain the idea of him not playing again. I think you can entertain that idea. I hope I'm not alone on that. I love Dak, of course. We're a better football team with him on there. But I'm just saying, guys, we have a little bit of a luxury. We have a little bit of a cushion that we've built up in the NFC East race, as well as with some of these guys, some of these games. And you look at our schedule, some of the more difficult, tougher games are going to be down here down the stretch. Obviously, we want everyone on board. Besides that, that's enough about Dak Prescott. I'm not going to talk about that. Michael Gallup depends on how he practices, but Cowboys are feeling pretty confident that he's going to play. And boy, oh boy, would it be so great to see Michael Gallup be back on the field. He's just an incredible weapon. But I got to say, in his absence, we see guys like Noah Brown, Cedric Wilson. Guys are able to step up. And again, it goes back to that mantra. We believe in our guys. We don't have to go out and sign a draft pick. We don't have to go out and get Odell Beckham Jr. All of y'all need to stop that nonsense right now. We don't need Odell Beckham Jr. And we don't need any other free agent. We didn't need Von Miller. I know a lot of people would have been excited for that, but we don't need Von Miller. We don't need an aging linebacker and sacrifice some draft picks that we have. You look at the draft picks that we have drafted in the past few seasons, you got to think about it that way. Would you be willing to give up Trayvon Diggs and CD Lamb for a player like Von Miller, who I wouldn't say is past his prime, but he's certainly not there anymore? It's fun that people love to play Madden, with their franchises and stuff like that, but I just didn't see the trade there. Anyways, it would be great to have Michael Gallup back, which brings me to the other wide receiver. CD Lamb sprained his ankle in practice. He sprained it Wednesday. Does he need to go on Sunday? Personally, if I'm the coach of the Dallas Cowboys, which I do not covet that job, not at all. Mike McCarthy, that is all yours. But I'm saying if Michael Gallup is coming back, and we've seen that the depth that we have at the wide receiver position, we can get away with CeeDee Lamb sitting. If that is a severe, which I don't know the severity of that injury, but if CeeDee Lamb has to sit out for a game or two to get that back up to full strength, we can play around with that, guys. We have a lot of depth this year where we can really sustain this whole the long season. A couple more sprains. God, it's just been sprain after sprain, right? Trayvon Diggs had an ankle sprain towards the end of the game, which was kind of weird. I didn't really see, a normal sprain injury where he tweaked it or it buckled underneath him. It was kind of just hit in the process of that tackle at the end of the game. But I haven't received word about it. I feel like he's always been battling something game after game. We see him in some capacity dealing with something. I don't know the status of that, and I will for the pregame prediction, but hopefully it goes well. We have Kelvin Joseph coming back here. We're about to see him. So I don't really like playing with the depth of the secondary. I believe that still is a thin piece of glass for us. But we have to keep our eye on that because, we're not really even playing a passing team. I'm not really too scared of Terry Bridgewater. So, anyways, Tyron Smith, we know he has an ankle sprain. He will be out, which means we're going to play a lot with that line there. We're going to what I've heard is that we're going to move Terrence Steele to the left, Collins to the right. Guys, we are loaded. We have a lot of depth here at the offensive line position, a lot of pieces that we can move around, which is perfect. I kind of feel like that Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy built for this roster for a long season. So anyways, those are your injury updates, big time stuff going right there. We got to keep an eye on it. Of course, I'll have more concrete information heading into the weekend here. But let's talk about some roster moves. Bradley Anae was waived. At the point of making this video, he has been signed to the practice squad. So meaning any team can pick him up, but directly he is now on the Cowboys practice squad roster. I don't know if this was more so a message being sent by Mike McCarthy saying we can't allow those dumb penalties, or it was just the fact that we need to make room for our roster for some of these guys coming back from injuries, which I think it's probably that one. And for all you Jalen Smith fans, he was released by the Green Bay Packers. This is interesting because it brings up the possible scenario of possibly bringing him back because Jabril Cox tore his ACL, which means he's out for the remainder of the year. He was the guy that we thought was going to be the depth at that position. Thus, and I don't think that was the only reason why I released Jalen Smith. There's a lot of reasons financially going into that decision as well. But it's something to think about. Tell me, would you guys feel comfortable bringing back Jalen Smith? I think that ship has sailed, so we don't have to think about it. We don't have to talk about it. But we have seen crazier things happen. Anyways, so let's talk about the NFC East update. We talked about injuries, we talked about roster moves, and we talk now about the NFC East. Right now, the Cowboys sit at the top at 6-1. The next closest person to them is the Philadelphia Eagles, sitting at 3-5. They just blew out their opponent 44-6. The Lions, who are winless this entire year, that's a game you're supposed to win. Like I said at the beginning of this video, not the beginning of the video, but at the beginning of the season, the Eagles are a very talented team offensively. And with the first-year coach, there's going to be a lot of bumps in the road. There's going to be a lot of scrutiny, especially in your first year. They still have a lot to figure out. But if they can get those pieces moving, they can absolutely get that offense firing all cylinders and take advantage of their opponents. They're 3 games behind us. We beat them in their first meeting down at AT&T Stadium on Monday night. I'm not too worried about them. We see them later down the year. But next we have the Giants, 2-6. They dropped a very close game against the Kansas City Chiefs, 14-17. I believe that was the score. Actually, should probably double check that. I know it was a field goal though. 2 things we got to talk about here. New York Giants, man, they just had a case of bad luck. They really have. They haven't had everyone on the field, and if they would, they would definitely be a contender that we're talking about. That's just my own personal opinion. But on the other side of that, let's talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, because they are the big opponent that we're seeing here in a couple of weeks. We play the Broncos here. I can't quite remember who we play next. The Falcons. We play the Falcons, and then we plan to play the Kansas City Chiefs on the road at Arrowhead Stadium. Chiefs, just because we are looking good and the Chiefs are not as good as we all know them to be, does not mean that they can be firing all cylinders when we see them on that point of time in their schedule. So something to keep an eye on. It's going to get a little bit tougher, guys. I know we're grinding out these really must-needed wins on the road, but anything could happen, guys, especially with these divisional opponents. Next, Washington dropped down a little bit lower. They're at 2-6. They lost to the Broncos, who we're seeing this week. It was a very close game. And if that's any indication of what I believe is going to happen this Sunday against the Denver Broncos, the Broncos barely beat the Washington football team. And they're not that talented. They're really not at the strength that they're supposed to be. None of these NFC East teams are except us. And we really built our roster very well. So anyways, though, guys, that's your weekly update. A lot of things going on, specifically with the NFC. A lot of things with the injuries. Let me know what you think about this whole situation with Dak Prescott. Let me know what you would do with these injuries. Would you sit CeeDee Lamb knowing Michael Gallup's probably going to be back? What would you do with the offensive line knowing that Tyron Smith is going to be out? Are we moving Steele to the left, Collins to the right? Let me know what you think. I'd love to chime down with you guys. But other than that, that's it for today's video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more Dallas Cowboys content. Be sure to follow me on all social media platforms. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. Other than that, you guys have a good day. I'll see you for our pregame prediction video this weekend. Go Cowboys.